Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5. One, two, three, four, five. Everybody in the car, so come on, let's ride to the liquor store around the corner. The boys say they want some gin and juice, but I really don't wanna be a buzz like I had last week. I must stay deep, cause talk is cheap. I like Angela, Pamela, Sandra, and Rita. And as I continue, you know they're getting sweeter. So what can I do? I really bag you, my lord. To me, flirting is just like a sport. Anything fly, it's all good. Let me jump in, please sing in the trumpet. A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit of Erica by my side. A little bit of Rita's all I need. A little bit of Tina's what I see. A little bit of Sandra in the sun. A little bit of Mary all night long. A little bit of Jessica, here I am. A little bit of you makes me your man. Mambo number 5. Jump up and down and move it all around. Shake your hand to the sound, put your hands on the ground. Take one step left and one step right. One to the front and one to the side. Clap your hands once and clap your hands twice. And if it looks like this, then you're doing it. A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit of Erica by my side. A little bit of Rita's all I need. A little bit of Tina's what I see. A little bit of Sandra in the sun. A little bit of Mary all night long. A little bit of Jessica, here I am. A little bit of you makes me your man. Trumpet. The trumpet. Mambo number 5. A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit of Erica by my side. A little bit of Rita's all I need. A little bit of Tina's what I see. A little bit of Sandra in the sun. A little bit of Mary all night long. A little bit of Jessica, here I am. A little bit of you makes me your man. I do all to fall in love with a girl like you. 'Cause you can't run, you can't hide. You and me gonna touch the sky. Mambo number 5.
Well, welcome in, everyone. For I'm laughing because I went away from like the opening screen and you're just staring down. Welcome in, everyone, to the 929 episode. Look, like last week was bad. I don't think there's any way around it for both of us. Not a great week. And we're gonna try and recover this week. How are you feeling, Captain, on the recovery weekend? You're muted. Captain's having technical difficulties already.
I took a couple days off to refresh and just let the mind reset. Last weekend was an abomination.
It was rough.
I'm all over the place. I need to stop the. I went too far one way and then too far back. I went too good and then I'm doing this. I need to even out and then go up from there. You know,
Absolutely.
9 and 2 to 3 and 8 is. It's a tough one to stomach, especially with some of the ways I lost.
Yeah, I think for me, my losses, it was a bigger deal because they weren't even close. Like, half of the losses weren't even ever a game. It was looking at it, and I'm like, man, you pick like a 5.5 point line and they lose by 21, and you're like, man, that just like never had a chance. Like I was really wrong on this. Not like, you had like 5.5 and they lost by a touchdown. So you're like, okay, like I feel like I was kind of right. It could have happened. No, these losses never stood a chance. I mean, I lost one game by like 30, multiple games by 30.
I had 3 picks. Yeah, that was just a complete swing and a miss.
Yeah.
I think I'm never taking Purdue ever.
Yeah, Purdue's on my shit list now.
Ever again. For now, they're in jail. I can't handle them. They're not as good as I think they are. Their Hudson Card is not good. Move on. That's where I'm at.
Okay, so we have a team added to the shit list that neither of us are going to pick again. I go through that a lot throughout a season, especially if I lose like twice in the first half of the season. I'm like, I'm done with you. The problem is in NFL, that can come back to bite me because then they cover like 8 of their last 9 games, and usually I'm picking against them. And I'm like, I don't learn my lesson though because I'm spiteful and I just get angry that they lost me so many games early in the season. Like that could potentially be like the Bears. I've already lost twice with them. And then it's like, well, does Justin Fields and the offense turn it around? And all of a sudden they start covering all these games, but I'm just like late to the re-pickup. I don't know.
Man, yeah, I don't know about that. They look historically bad.
True. Actually historically bad. But before we get into football, we'll do a quick recap on the Premier League from last weekend. A few good games. A lot of like big teams had big games, I guess. Man City won 2-0, not one of the big games. Not a lot to talk about there. We just kind of handled our business. Newcastle won 8-0. Not against a good team, but that's just more of that is so hard to do at this level of soccer. That's like an NFL. It's like an NFL team scoring 70 points in a game.
Literally was going to say that.
Yeah, I beat you to it. Liverpool won 3-1 versus West Ham. I know you lost your bet there. I think you had the +1, +1.5 on West Ham that you gave out last game.
I think it's the only one I lost last week. And soccer, I've been fucking phenomenal.
You didn't bet Arsenal to win? Wow.
I usually don't bet Arsenal games. Sometimes I feel a little frisky, but most of the time, I try not to bet any of my teams because I'm biased, and that bias can cause me to be like, we're so fucking terrible when we're not, and I think we're really good when we're not. So I do what I can to stop myself from betting on them, but that doesn't always.
Yeah, that doesn't always work out. I don't even really try to do that. I'm just self-admitted. Like I will bet on my team. I'll bet against the team. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong.
I will not like, oh, I think this is a good bet. I will emotionally hedge myself. That I'm totally okay with doing.
Okay, that's
no
fair.
problem doing that.
Yeah,
I bet
fair.
Man City a lot because if y'all win, I get money, and if y'all lose, even better.
Wow, man, I've been out here betting Arsenal to win, and I just it's a real revelation to learn that you're just emotionally hedging when I'm actively cheering for your team.
You don't actually care. You're way more concerned with money.
I am way more concerned with money. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Brighton, we talked about it on last episode. Just bet the over every game. It's going to be over 3, over 3.5, and once again they get their 4 goals. Now they get 3, but the game gets 4 goals, and it's just one of those. Just put it in. It might lose sometimes. Just keep doing it. Like
I've literally been doing it every time.
Yeah,
and it's just been winning.
I didn't do it in the week game, the Carabao Cup game, just because honestly I kind of forgot that those were going on. But Premier League, and I did do it. Well, I bet them for Europa League.
Carabao Cup or is that the Europa League?
No, Europa was 2 weeks ago. This last, like 2 days ago was they won 1-0.
Right.
But yeah, and then so y'all tied 2-2. I'll let you talk about that one because that's your team.
Lots of reasons to take a mental, emotional sports break this weekend. This was one of them. Not only did we tie, it felt like a loss. It really did because we gave the game away. We quite literally gave the ball to them to score in the second half after going up 2-1. On top of that, we have so many injuries. We actually can almost have I think a starting 11 that could that literally could make top 4, except they're all hurt. Like we could have a top 4 11 with injuries. we have like 8 first team players out, and I think 7 of them would start. I think it's 6 now. It's all the way up to 6 or 7 of the team that won the FA Cup. Not the FA Cup, the team that won the Community Shield.
Yeah.
So it's a bloodbath. We just found out today that actually for tomorrow, Saka, Saliba, and Rice have traveled with the squad. We don't know if they practiced or not today. They hadn't practiced all week. So we'll see.
I saw on the Premier League site, just because for fantasy, that they were at 50% to play. Just because, like when you own a player, it tells you they have X amount of percent to play. I saw 50% at least for Saka. I didn't check Saliba.
I hope they're on the bench, and I hope they only come in if it's necessary in the second half. They need rest. Saka needs rest. He just played his fucking 82nd consecutive Premier League game. He needs rest. He broke the Arsenal record. He plays every fucking cup game other than Carabao Cup games. He's got to get rest. Mikel has this whole thing where he needs to be like Rodri, and Holland, who can play every game. I tend to agree, but at the same time, I'm not just saying this because I'm an Arsenal fan. Just watch the game. Saka gets fucking chopped down and kicked so many times because he just makes the left back look so silly so many times. They just kick the shit out of him, and they don't hide it. And he doesn't really. I mean, unless we're lucky and the ref is bet on us, I feel like. Nobody ever gets thrown out of games. They warn the player against him. He needs to sit out. But we got a big game. For us, it's a big game. Every game is a big game for us now.
Every game is a big game.
If we're trying to catch y'all.
Which, we'll just go ahead and segue into the games tomorrow. Luckily, y'all are playing Bournemouth. Shouldn't be too hard of one. I don't feel like you should need Saka for that one, personally. There's no real good game this weekend. Aston Villa, Brighton, that one's decent.
Versus Liverpool's a fucking banger.
Yeah.
Being honest.
I don't know. I mean, it's I'm not going to be watching it. It's not that important to me. If it was someone a little better. But it's weird. I don't know. I was going to ask you because I don't know why are
Aston Villa Brighton's kind of a banger.
Why is there 8 games Saturday and then 1 Sunday, 1 Monday for this week?
It has something to do with the way they're wanting to play Champions League. Is the amount of days off in between if they're playing Wednesday. I don't know. I think it has something to do with that. That's what I was reading, but that could also be wrong. I also was looking because when I was going to put my bets in for this weekend, the game times were all off and they were on England time, and I thought they were still on American time. And so the information I have was kind of skewed and didn't really make sense. But I don't know. I think it has to do with Champions League, though.
Okay. I didn't know. I was wondering.
European Cup.
And that makes sense why the certain teams are playing on Monday. I mean, Chelsea, Fulham, not doing a lot in Europe. Brentford, Nottingham on Sunday, probably not doing a lot in Europe.
Chelsea, they won their Carabao Cup game this past week. So
hey, I'm proud of them.
They may have only won 5 Premier League games this entire calendar year, but they got that Carabao Cup win.
Look, victory's a victory.
True.
I know right now you and me would take any victory, so can't talk shit on that. True.
That's not wrong. I wouldn't be upset if we got knocked out of the Carabao Cup. Just saying it. Before we head into the others, I am going to give away my bets for the weekend for EPL.
Oh, right. Right. Sorry.
I'm
not going to go back, but
right now I have Aston Villa Brighton. You know what it is?
Over. Is it 3.5?
Yeah. It is 3.5.
3.5. Shocked.
Absolutely
both teams
shocked. Like to run and gun. I think the over under should be 4 myself, but
that is just insane to think that a Premier League game could have an over under of 4.
It is, but Brighton and Aston Villa both like to fucking run and gun. So I got Liverpool I got pick / minus a half. I think it could be I think Liverpool could fuck around and fuck up. I don't think they will, but I could see it happening. Actually, no. It depends on James Maddison. How hurt is he from the last game? He had to leave the North London derby because he also got hurt. He got hurt in a real freaky, like hyperextended his leg kind of way. He's been phenomenal all season. Just like truthfully, he's been great. Son had a goal this past weekend that was world class, like millimeters any one way left or right, and they don't get their first goal. It's crazy. But with Madison being injured, I like Liverpool as a pick -0.5. Fulham, Chelsea. I'm going to keep taking the team opposite Chelsea until it stops being profitable. But right now, I'm taking Fulham +0.5 against Chelsea.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even if City -1.5. Yeah,
I was gonna say even if they lose one, like then they've peaked once they've won one. So then you keep betting it.
Yeah. Man City -1.5 is what it is. Crystal Palace. This is a half bet. I put Crystal Palace +1 against Man U. I think Crystal Palace is good. Man U has talent that I feel like can win them a game at any time, so it's weird betting against them. But at the same time, they're fucking Man U. So Crystal Palace +1. I have Newcastle Burnley over 3, and that is my EPL bets for the week.
Lock him in. He's been killing it on soccer picks. I did not do one last weekend besides one, which the Brighton one. That was it.
Literally 23-6. It's wild.
Maybe you should start betting a little more on those then. Unfortunately, as you can see, our college football bets last weekend were not great. We both lost. Purdue was never a game. It was 21-7 very fast. And after that, Purdue couldn't catch up because Hudson Card is atrocious. I'll quickly go over mine. We're not going to spend too much time recapping. I won Georgia State. I already talked about that last week because it happened before. Cincinnati, I won. Offense is atrocious. I think they had 6 red zone trips and came away with 6 points total. There's not a lot else. They missed a 26-yard field goal. That is so... I could literally walk onto a field and hit a 26-yard field goal right now. Don't care the situation. You don't miss 26-yard field goals. And then I had Oregon State. This was a panic one. I picked them in big game picks, but I switched it. I had Army, but then the Jinx had Army, and I was like, I don't want to do that. The Jinx is doing it. And so I switched. Army covers. Oregon State doesn't. It was a good game. They just couldn't stop the offense at all of Wazoo, which...
I literally didn't know until right now that you had Wazoo. I thought you had Oregon State this whole time.
I had Oregon State. I'm saying I lost it.
I'm looking at
That's your picks.
Okay. I was like, wait a second.
Can we pull it together here? Can we just pull it together?
I'm still shattered.
And then I had Sam Houston State. That was unfortunate. They scored a touchdown. Super exciting. They were up 7-3, and then after that, it was just a bloodbath. Shout out Sam Houston State last night, absolutely blowing a 21-7 lead to lose in overtime, 28-21 to not cover the game +6.5. I didn't have it. I was just cheering for it because the Jinx bet against them. So I ended up 2-3 in college. Not a terrible college day. My big game picks were bad, so we'll get to that in a second. But I'll let Captain go over his real quick before we move on.
Like I said, Purdue's dead to me. They can go fuck themselves. Ball State,
Absolutely.
Complete swing and a miss. FIU, complete swing and a miss. Washington State, got it done. They got it done.
It did get close at the end, though.
It got scary. ULL was horrible for the mentals, for momentum. They were well in charge of this game. Buffalo looked like Buffalo in the first half. I was telling people I'm literally going to take whoever's playing against Buffalo every week. And then a completely different team came out in the second half. ULL they stopped caring because they were up so much. They kind of fucked around, and Buffalo came back. It was a 2-score game. We're looking fine.
It was a 3-score game with 8 minutes left. It was a 3-score
game with 8 minutes left. Buffalo scores and then goes for the onside kick, which they get, and then they score again. And then I got put on safety watch because that meant a 1-4 college for me after a 4-1 the week before. Snip snap. Yeah, it just wasn't pretty. Wasn't pretty.
wasn't pretty, but at least you did do a little better on your big game picks, which we're about to see. I was atrocious. I went 6, as you can see. I would have at least gotten a push on Notre Dame. I took the money line. Still feel like it should have won if the coaches decided to play 10 people when the game was on the line. Maybe that's on me. I expect my team to actually have 11 players on the field. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's overreaching. Maybe those expectations are too high. You went 4-3 and 4-3-1 in big game picks. So that's not bad. I mean, Wazoo was your win. Counting for both. You got the Utah. I had the Utah under, one of my only wins. In the Colorado game, I feel like we should have won, but they were literally winning by so much that they just stopped. I mean, it was like 42-0, like 2 minutes into the third quarter, and you're thinking great, this is fantastic. But then, of course, when it's 42-0, the offense stops trying, and Colorado was getting no offense at all. So that was a bummer. I feel like that's one that if Colorado even participates a little bit, we hit. Didn't happen. Ole Miss, we just both really.
How would you like to have had the team over of 45.5 on Oregon?
Oh,
and
I'd be pissed.
Time you're up 35-0.
I'd be pissed, dude. Well, they scored their first drive. It was they scored with 5 minutes into the third quarter. They scored, so it was 42-0. And you're like, I literally need one touchdown and a half of football, pretty much. And you don't hit that.
Yeah, that's tough. That is a tough one to lose.
That's real tough to lose.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next game, TCU looked pretty good. I didn't really expect that sort of dominance from them, especially against a pretty solidly decent SMU team. I got the -7. Your over-under didn't hit just because our defense actually showed up. I mean, they kind of stopped SMU, which was great. Loved it. We talked about the Wazoo, Oregon State kind of already. How about your whiteout game, though? Just an utter slaughter with Penn State.
Yeah. Whiteout is almost just, as long as it's not either a crazy matchup or a ridiculous spread, whiteout is just a guaranteed.
I think I saw after the game, Iowa had 78 yards of offense.
Iowa so has the least amount of yards per game in the whole country.
Yeah, but there's a difference between having the least and then having 78 yards as a Power 5 program.
Both are absolutely mind-boggling to me because we sit here every fucking year and go, why can't Iowa get an offensive coordinator? I can't even talk. It is so fucking dumb.
It is dumb. Trashy, welcome in. Oh, Cap, I didn't tell you this. So after stream last Friday, I played Smite with some people. Trashy was one of them. She waits to do her chores until Friday afternoons because she does her chores while listening to us. And so she said if we ever miss an episode, she won't get her chores done. And so we're not allowed to miss a Friday afternoon episode. She does her dishes while she listens to us.
Trashy, you're my favorite person in the world now. So
yeah,
thank you.
So we're literally, we're not allowed to miss an episode because then her chores will just stock up. She's not going to do them.
I do my chores on Saturdays during the least busy college football period. So I'm just watching college football, walking around doing chores. So
that's usually my 11 a.m. slot.
Yeah. A lot of, except tomorrow I got some 11 a.m. games that I'm excited about.
Well, yeah, tomorrow's a little better. But, I'm also going to have to get them done earlier. That's why I said the
period.
Yeah. But yeah, so, Trashy, we appreciate you. We're glad you put us on during chore time while you're doing dishes, cleaning, whatever it is.
Wait, so Trashy's our real first avid fan?
She is.
Because the other friends we have don't show up anymore, so...
Yeah, that's true, actually. The friends that we know in real life don't even bother to show up. And Trashy's out here grinding with us.
Yeah,
while she does chores. So thank you, Trashy. We appreciate you. Watch, we just said that comment, and one of our friends is about to pop up in 30 seconds in this chat and being like, wow.
Nah, CS2 is just...
Oh, that's true. CS2 is released, and which is actually fair. New game,
Hey, we've been pounding.
There. Wow.
Okay, you know what? Eric has been. Eric, you are another avid fan.
Yeah.
And Wordna. Wordna's been here most of the time.
They get some of it a pass because they're technically still in work week because they're an hour behind. So
And they still make it.
And they still make it though. But
we appreciate you. See, there's word. I knew it. Fucking love you guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Very exciting.
Eric, side note, nothing to do with the stream. We need to do co-op balloons soon. It's super fun. Everyone should play balloons. Super fun, casual game. You just sit there. You need a stress relief. Pop thousands of balloons. We can move on now. Just had to get that balloons comment out of there, though. Everyone should play it. Moving on to this week's big game picks. We only have one graphic. I'm not going to lie. We've been playing FIFA because it released. It is what it is.
We've been playing FIFA. Oh, Scott and Katie are watching the litter.
See, you just got to call them out, and they all come out.
Gotta call them out.
Got to call them out.
Fair, they were at the beach last week, I think, if I remember right. So I hope the beach trip went well. I've been learning to code and haven't really got to ask you about it. So hope the beach went well, Mr. Pocket. So yeah, big game picks. First one, Utah, Oregon State. I have this game in the league.
So do I. I think
so
you
we're
can guess.
Both going Oregon State.
Yeah, we're both going Oregon State. Well, this was one of those. I wasn't doing it. It's Corvallis at night. If Cam Rising was back, it's off the table just because I think Cam Rising.
If Cam Rising's back, I take Utah.
I actually wouldn't, just because I don't know how he's going to play in his first game back whenever that happens. But I wouldn't take the game at all, just because he could come out and sling it, or he could come out and be a little rusty. Year off. I wouldn't touch it. But we have it at 2.5 in the league. It's up to 4, but there's been a lot of money coming in late for Utah. We talked about it before. Like, a lot of money's been going on Utah in the last 2 hours. So that has me a little nervous. I just don't think they have the offense to be able to do much.
They are like bottom 15 in yards per game in total offense. Utah is. Now, but Oregon State, I wish they weren't favored. Don't love that.
I mean, 2.5, that's barely.
For us, it's 4 live.
Well, yeah.
4, I feel like, gets into the
I wouldn't
area.
do it at 4,
game.
Honestly.
No. I wouldn't go over 3.
Well, yeah, you need the feel. It's always the 3 and the 7 marks for me are big, obviously big ones.
Right.
Because even 4 is a big one because that's when you can kick a field goal, the other team scores a touchdown. If you have 4.5, you're like, I still win it. The anywhere between 5 and 6.5 usually doesn't make a difference to me, just because there's not a lot of scores where you end that you lose by 5. It's usually pretty. You have to get into some weird scoring patterns then. Anyway, I like it. This will be the best defense I think Utah's played. UCLA played them really well last week, but I think this is the second best defense overall in the Pac-12. Utah's clearly the first, not even disputed, one of the top in the country. But Oregon State will be the best defense this quarterback's seen. I think they can run the ball well enough. I think DJ might have 1 turnover, but Utah's offense is lame enough it's not going to affect them too much. And I'm looking at 17-14, 20-17. I'm probably going to take the under as well. I think I saw it's only 44.
44. I thought I saw 40.
Okay. Well, if it's 45 or 44, I'm going to take the under either way. But this is where it looks like we both have a league pick here also.
Mm-hmm.
Then
it makes me nervous because we know the Jinx has a pick tonight. He has not told us who it is.
Well, I specifically haven't called him, so because I don't even
specifically haven't either. But he's been texting me, and I've been like, I have 2 games tonight. I'm not betting in the league. I'm not betting any other games. Fucking leave me alone. Trying to do my try to figure shit out. And he was like, "Oh, I have 1 too, but I'm getting nervous because I'm already 2-0." Humble brag.
He got so lucky in last night's game. Not the Detroit one. Detroit slaughtered them. Not that one, but the Sam Houston State one.
I wanted to just willy-nilly pick Detroit, but I felt like it was just because I like them. I just like Detroit.
Yeah,
it's always hard to tell because I can't tell if I'm like, this team's good, or it's like I really just want to cheer for them.
I struggle with that a lot, especially in college football. That I really struggle in college football. NFL, I don't care as much. Well, not that I don't care. It's like I don't have teams that I'm like, hell yeah, really want them to win. Obviously, besides the Bucks. College, I really struggle with that. So I get it. but I didn't want to take Detroit last night just because I was taking Western Kentucky. I won that. You can't go Thursday 0-2 on Thursday. That's just like utterly just devastating, no matter what happens. And so I couldn't take.
So I'm going to do it on Friday.
I think there's a difference, small difference, but it is.
100% think there's a huge difference.
I think there is a huge difference.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all different.
All different. All different. Moving on to the next one, Kansas, Texas. I'll let you take first on this because it is your team.
This is a hard one. I don't like the line at all. Like for picking a team, the line feels about right. If I had to gun ahead, which I do for this, I would take Kansas in the points. Because Texas is thinking about OU right now. I think they're more concerned with OU, even though Kansas is undefeated. They have a decent offense, and they've taken out Texas before. I think it was last year or the year before, whatever. I would take Kansas in the points. It's one of their it's like a Super Bowl game for them. And Texas is just prime for a stumbling block right before OU. Primed and ready for it.
Yeah, I actually don't think they're looking ahead much because this Kansas team did beat them 2 years ago in UT. And so I don't think they're looking ahead, but I do like it. I'm going to say right now, this is a league pick for me because we have 17.5 in the league. It's 16 live now. I don't like that as much. I really like we were talking about. I like those 17, the 14, the 10 marks, like because you get the exact score, but like kind of aboves. I have Kansas. I only have about 7 games I'm looking at for league, and so one of them's done, so about 6. And so I got to narrow it down a little bit, but this is one I have locked in right now. That could change. I do like other elements, which we'll get to later, but for big game picks, I'm going to take the plus 16 automatically. Okay, so we're both same there again. Wow, same. Let me mark these down.
Yeah,
So
I wish,
for the record.
man, I really wish it got up to the 20 mark. I feel like the 20 mark is where I would.
Kansas offense is too good to give 20 points to. And I know Texas is good. Texas is the better team. I'm not even going to get into that argument, like trying to say like it's going to be a one possession. It could be, but like their offense is pretty good.
Also been having trouble. Like they start slow, other than Bama, where they just like they
prepped a whole offseason ready for it, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the only thing they did. But yeah, I think the offense could start slow. I really like the Kansas pick. I thought about taking them league, but it wasn't enough.
That's wild to me that a ranked team getting 17.5 isn't enough points. Not that like I think it'll be about 14. It's going to be around there, but it's just wild the concept of saying like getting 17.5 points isn't enough for a ranked team. That's just in general. I mean, you look at Colorado last week. Obviously, that wasn't enough points. Exactly. But I think those are a little bit different situations.
They are. I worry that Texas's offense actually is very capable of exploding.
I agree.
At the same time. So for me, it's like it's a close one. For big game pick, I like have no doubt I would take Kansas in the points. Just league, it's a little scary for me.
I agree. Then again, I'm scared about all my league picks. If I'm not scared, it's actually worse if I'm not scared because that's when you get into bad territory. Moving on to the next one, LSU at Ole Miss. Man, I don't like this game. I'm going to take LSU minus 2.5 because I think they're the better team. I think their offense is better. Lane Kiffin does the thing where he has a really good team, loses to Alabama every year. They'll go like 10-2, so like theoretically he should rebound, which is why the line's so low after LSU's been slaughtering people since FSU. I thought about the over 67.5. That is just a lot of points for these teams. And I know they can score quickly, but also I don't know. I don't trust 67.5 is just a lot for SEC play. So I'm going to go LSU minus 2.5. Let's see what you got.
I fucking hate this game. I wouldn't take it.
Not touching it at all.
Ever. It feels like, all right, if the way you just described it and how you got to how your pick is like literally my thinking, the same. It just feels like LSU has the better team, but I mean, it is what it's at the Grove, right? So we're going to Ole Miss. I love me some I've been to the Grove, super fun. Definitely a top 10 to 15 college football experience, in my opinion. LSU is just better. Like, I just take them. It feels like what's his face? God, I can't think of the LSU's head coach's name. Brian Kelly. There we go.
There you go.
Feels like Brian Kelly's doing the thing where he got a loss, and so that pressure to go undefeated is off, and now he's doing the thing where he's just going to keep winning too. But they're like kind of low key winning, but they're not in the national title conversation because they have that loss. And I think he does better when he gets to kind of sneak up on people a little bit. Not like he's not completely sneaking up on them. I get that, but they're not as like, holy shit, undefeated LSU.
Well, yeah, like if they had won FSU, they would be number 2, number 3 in the country right now, and everyone would be saying it's their year to lose the SEC and all that stuff. I get what you're saying, but yeah, I do think just LSU's just better. I mean, they are.
They're just better, and honestly, until Lane Kiffin can show me that he can win big games, I have to go Brian Kelly. And I'm saying that Kelly's the exact same.
I was about to be like, you're saying that, but you have Brian Kelly on the other sideline. Like, what?
I think in this game, there's more pressure on Ole Miss, and I think LSU has the better team. I think that leads up to an LSU win. Do I like LSU as a pick now? Have I talked myself into this?
Have you talked yourself into it?
I feel like I have.
Okay, I'll let you have that one. I'll leave it alone for you. How about that?
No, I'm just getting excited.
You just get
way too excited about something.
You just talk through it for about 5 minutes, and you're like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute."
Fun.
Yeah.
Shiny.
Second to last one for me. It's the last big game slate. We'll get to that comment in a second. Notre Dame at Duke. Lines 5.5. 52.5 over under. I'll let you go first. I have some stats for this one, but I want to hear what you say first before you hear my stats.
First off, just talking about 2 football schools. Love that. Second off, I feel bad for Notre Dame after last week. I'll say it. I like their coach. I like their team. I like Hartman. They kind of feel like they have the old school feel, like try to D up and then run the ball and play action. I love that shit. They lost in heartbreaking fashion. Maybe if they had fucking 11 people on the field, they could get the stop. But I feel like this is a hard one to predict because you don't know which Notre Dame is coming out. Honestly, they could be devastated, and they're like, "All right, well, let's fucking." We'll start again at Duke, and they're not quite there yet because that's an emotional ass game they just lost.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like heart wrenching. Or they could rubber band right back and slap the shit out of Duke. I also kind of feel like Duke might pull a thing where they're like, "Let's fucking win." I would take Duke in the points.
Guys, what if we just thought about winning? You know, like just. Have we thought about that?
Even though they are undefeated and it's at home and they got this, I feel like all the pressure is on Notre Dame.
Oh, it is.
If they lose, now they are fucked. Their season is over for what they want to accomplish.
And I don't even think it's that they lost last week. It's how they lost with giving up the last second touchdown. You had 10 men on the field twice. They had 3rd and 19 from like the 21-yard line with 15 seconds left. And you let them score a touchdown. Well, not on that play, but they got the first down and then scored the next play. But it's just like you had 10 men on the field. It was wild. I agree with you. I liked a lot of what you said. My stat here is since Mike Elko's become the Duke head coach, they've lost 4 games. About a year and a half now. It's by 3 points, 3 points, 2 points, and 8 points. He's never lost by more than a single score.
What that?
And so I'm taking Duke plus 5.5. Right now, this is a league pick for me. Their defense has given up 7 points, 7 points, 7 points, and 14 points this year. The defense shows up. I like what they're doing. The coach just knows how to coach they lost 4 games last year for Duke. That was like an all-time season in the last 30 years. And all those games were 1-score games. Hasn't lost this year. He clearly knows what he's doing. The only concern I have is now he's being in the conversation for the Michigan State head coach job. Like, people are saying, like, that's one thing I'm thinking about because, like, now the programs start to take notice of hey, this guy is coaching the shit out of his team at Duke. Duke doesn't get
Yeah.
football players. He's clearly doing more than what is expected with the players he has. And so I have Duke plus 5.5. It's going to be for the big game automatically. Right now, it's a league pick. I love it. They grind out wins, or they come up very, very short in losses.
I love me a lurker. At minimum, they're a lurker.
At minimum.
Wow, what a stat! My panties dropped for sure. I'm soaking wet. I love Duke at the points even more than I already did. So easy.
We're the same on every pick here. That's not going to end well.
I'm gonna go do a parlay on the opposite.
Yeah, take the opposite parlay. Put $5 on the opposite for everything to happen.
Yeah,
I think Captain Trashy liked your panties dropping. By the way.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm soaked. Last game, I'm calling a big game because
Not a big
it's
game
fun to watch. I think Scott has a great point. I think his point is valid.
You don't get to be a big game pick after losing by 40 points the previous week.
Semantically, I understand.
But
Deion's fun to fucking watch, and I feel like any game he's in, especially against USC, Caleb Williams, Heisman winner coming in, they're trying to get to the college football playoff. You got Colorado trying to bounce back. I don't know if Travis Hunter's going to be back. I know he was out bowling.
I heard
with
he's
the dude
not.
that fucking hurt him.
I did like that story, and they gave the money to charity. They bet on the game, and the winner got to choose what charity it went to.
Love all that. I think Coach Prime is way more of a stand-up guy than people give him credit for, and I know that was Travis Hunter that did it, but if you think Prime wasn't behind it, you're fucking lying to yourself.
Well, Prime did say, like, Monday afterwards, after the CSU game, obviously not this Monday, because he heard about the guy getting death threats, and he goes, look, that was a football play. This happens every week. Was it a little dirty? Yeah, it was, but it's a football play. People need to calm down a little bit and be like, hey, it literally happens every weekend. Now, was it dirty? Yes. He clearly hit him late. The play was over. But it's not like I think we all know, any rational fan is like, he wasn't like doing it on purpose, or like nobody deserves death threats for what's happening to 20-year-olds in a football game.
See, I think he did it on purpose, I still think he did it on purpose, but I also don't think he deserves death threats because he's a 20-year-old who's fucking dumb, because 20-year-olds are not smart. As someone who's been a 20-year-old,
wait, you have?
Your brain's not fully developed. Yeah. Your brain's not fully developed. You got all this fucking adrenaline going. I understand. Like, I understand. I thought it was dirty. I thought he should have been flagged. I thought he should have been thrown out of the game. I don't think he should get death threats and his family told to fucking die and, like, be worried about the concern of his safety outside of the game and his family. I agree with everything Coach Prime said. I think he had to say it. But at the end of the day, that was a fucking dirty hit. Like, I don't want to act like it wasn't, and it was just a football play, because that was a dirty hit. He should have been tossed.
Well, I don't think anyone's saying it wasn't a dirty play, but Prime himself said, it happens all the time. It is still just like football. It's like, it still happens.
True.
Like, anyone that walks on the field, like, you're going to get hit. I mean, was it slightly late? Yeah, but he's getting death threats for it.
Right. No, like I said, no death threats should happen. Nobody's family should be threatened. Nobody should be concerned about their safety. It was a dirty hit. He should have been taught at the same time. I think all can be true.
Trashy, glad your dishes are done. Thank you for tuning in.
That being said, USC, Colorado. I'm very torn. It is like the exact same situation, almost not exact same. It's a very similar situation to how I felt about the Oregon game, and that I think the play is easily USC/Oregon, but then that part of me is like, but what if the offense shows up? I think that could be applied more to this game than last game. Oregon has fucking studs that are going to go in the first round on their defense. USC has one. I think that's their linebacker. Like Tua Latua or something like that. I'm sorry I'm sorry I just destroyed that name.
Absolutely.
But yeah, USC fucked around with Arizona State last week, who is one of the worst teams in the country. I think they were looking ahead weirdly. Because not because they're worried about it, but because they just want to kick the shit out of the Colorado Buffaloes. I can see Colorado covering. I'm gonna take Colorado and cover. I'm gonna do it.
See, I do like it's. I think it was 21.5 last I saw it. Yeah, and the over under 73. I like the 21.5 a lot here for Colorado because USC's defense is actually terrible. Like you mentioned, Oregon actually has players on defense, can actually stop people if, like, at least a few times. USC's defense is one of the worst in the country. Like, and that's not even an exaggeration for who they've played on what they've given up. They've played Arizona State, Stanford, Nevada, San Jose State, and 2 of those teams scored 28 points on them. Like, that's not okay. Arizona State is one of the worst teams in the country.
They were their 4th quarterback.
Yeah, San Jose State was like 1-4 or 1-3 last I saw. I don't know what happened last week with them, honestly. So, like, these teams that are getting 28 points on them should not be happening. And Colorado's offense is definitely better than either of those teams automatically. I don't think Colorado's going to stop them at all, though. I think this is USC scores 49-56, which makes me actually want to take the over because I think like Colorado scores 21 points. USC is going to get to 49-56, around there. I'm really torn on which one to take because I think obviously both can happen, but I can also see USC still coming out because they're a little more pumped for this game than possibly Arizona State, because I don't think anyone in the country gets pumped for Arizona State. And they come out and win 49-14, and neither happen. I'm going to go with the over 73. I think points are scored. I think Colorado rebounds on offense this week. They're not going to let what happened last week happen again, I think, for sure. At least offensively. I don't think that defensively there's anything that can be done about trying to stop USC with who they have, since Hunter's, at least last I saw, is not playing. He wants to play. Dion said you're not playing because your future, I think his actual quote was like, your future's brighter than mine ever was, and this game doesn't mean enough to ruin that. And it's like, yeah, that's obviously the kid wants to play, and you have to respect that. I think any kid wants to play the 8th team in the country, USC, but Dion's actually looking towards his future playing in the NFL and saying like, hey, let's chill here. This is one game in hopefully 20 more years of a career. So if he's not playing, the defense is going to be hurt a little more in the secondary. I'm just going to take the over 73.
I like it. I was looking for a team total. I think USC team total was 48. And I think I want it, or something like that, and I want to take the over. Let's see. It's not on the website we use.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know where you're pulling that, so I don't.
Let us see.
Are you doing that instead of Colorado or combined with?
I'm combining.
Okay, combining.
Team props. USC 48.5. I'm going to go over Colorado. I'm going to go over 24.5 for them.
Okay, we're just switching it up all over the place now.
Colorado plus the points. Colorado over 24.5 team points. Boom.
Got it. Okay, so got over big game picks. Any other games you have league-wise, bets, anything you got?
I'll go over what I have in the league right now. I have 2 games tonight. We already went over Oregon State. I also have Louisiana Tech over UTEP. I think Louisiana Tech is easily the better team. It is at UTEP, but they're fucking UTEP. Louisiana Tech actually fucked around and found out they had a really good backup quarterback last week. Yeah. So
I accidentally find out this guy's like pretty good actually.
Yeah, so they have a good starting quarterback, but then they found out that their backup might be better, and I think he's starting in this game because the other quarterback's still going to be hurt. So Louisiana Tech over UTEP. I have it at +0.5 for Louisiana Tech. I think Liveline's like -1. Liveline is is even actually. So It was UTEP minus up to 1.5, I think. And now it is all the way down to even.
Okay.
Then tomorrow, right now, I have Houston +9.5 against the Texas Tech team that's terrible and doesn't have a fucking quarterback anymore.
That team is awful.
It is so bad.
I don't understand.
My last two games, I don't feel great about them. One breaks a rule that I have, and that is Air Force minus 10.5 against San Diego State. Air Force's defense isn't terrible, but they can also run like fucking crazy. San Diego State is a bad football team. I think Air Force at home. I think it's a 33-13 win. So I have Air Force minus 10.5 there, and then last, I don't feel good about. It feels gross. I'm gonna probably switch off of it. Right now, I have Iowa minus 11.5.
Whoa.
Giving.
Whoa.
They're playing Michigan State, whose coach was just fired. Ever since he left, or hasn't been with the program, the Michigan State offense has scored 7 points and 9 points against Washington and Maryland. I think going up against an Iowa defense at Iowa after the game last week, I think they'll come out with something to prove. I love a rebound game. But you never know. If I don't know that the interim coach buff applies because he's
already
Mel
been
Tucker
there.
has been gone.
He's already been there.
Yeah. So that team looks fucking horrible without Mel Tucker. Their offense has gone to shit. Good luck with Iowa. The only problem is Iowa has to score too. Yeah. Which I don't think they did last week, right?
No, I don't think
they did not.
No.
Last week. However, Michigan State has given up 31 and 41 in their last two games. So they're not scoring and they're giving up a lot of points. Hence why I have Iowa.
Science.
More than likely am going to switch off of that game. Because it's real spoopy. It scares me. I thought about New Mexico plus 14.5 against Wyoming. I think Wyoming is the better team. However, their offense is not great, and they're in close games a lot. Wyoming, they either lose or they're in a close game. They won at Texas Tech by 2. Portland State, whatever, doesn't count. Not a real team. Texas, they lost 10-31. Appalachian State, they lost 22-19. So even when they win, and that was both of those wins were at home, they win by 2 or 3. So I really like New Mexico. The problem is they're still New Mexico, but I think they can score. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, I did have Kansas at one point, but not anymore. That's all I got for right now. Follow me. I'll be tweeting out all the picks that I have later. Tomorrow morning, I will probably wake up with a few different ones. I also really like Louisiana Monroe, but Louisiana teams are kind of, I don't know what my deal is with them. I don't know if I want to go.
You've been super obsessed with just all of Louisiana. Just like every single school.
And the sad thing is there's not a lot to be excited about.
There's not. That's the weird part. There's
not a lot.
So it's a little bit smaller card for you this week than last week. You gave out a lot last week.
I also, to be fair, I also took days off, so my card might get looked over a lot more tonight, and it might grow exponentially. Okay. But I took a few days off because I needed the mental, emotional break.
Well, I was going to say, like, my card is, especially for me, you know how I am. I'll throw it out there no matter what. I legitimately only have 7 games I'm even looking at. Yeah. And one of them's already happened. Western Kentucky was last night. That game's done. I won that one. Like I already said, I have Oregon State minus 2.5 tonight. That kicked off in about 2 hours-ish, roughly. Then I already brought up Kansas and Duke, both underdogs. Like them both right now. They're league picks right now. I don't know. I'm picking between essentially 4 games, which I'm about to get to the next 2. TCU, we have it at minus 11.5. It got up to 14.5. I think it's down to 13.5 now. That was at least a few hours ago. I like the 11.5. TCU's starting to get in a little bit of a groove here. Our defense has gotten better. Our offense has cooked the whole time, and we've scored at least 34 points in every game. So that's great to see. Side note, I'll be at the game. Got to have money if I'm going, or at least something on it if I'm going to be at the game. Right now, it's a league pick because, like I said, I like the 11.5 a lot. Minimally, there will be money on it. I'll side bet it. Then the last one. Didn't take them last week. Actually thought about taking their opponent last week who covered Syracuse plus 6.5. I saw it's live 7 right now. 6.5 for the league. Syracuse has actually played Clemson super close the last 6 years. 4 of the last 6 games have been decided by one score. Syracuse has won one of them outright. Syracuse has covered 4 of the last 6 games. And the thing is, a lot of those games, they were double-digit underdogs. The 6.5 they're getting today would have covered every single one of those games I already mentioned. And so that was against much, much better Clemson teams. That was Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson were some of the QBs in those games. And they were a top 5 team every time they played before this year. So this is the worst Clemson team we've seen in a while. They have 2 losses already. I still think their offense is good. I mean, they put up 27 against FSU. FSU has a solid defense. They've rebounded from the Duke game. But I also think Syracuse can score on this defense. I think their QB, Garrett Schrader's running ability is better than FSU's QB, who is good. He's in the Heisman, race. I don't really know if he's there. I think it's more of a hopeful one. I think there's people that are clearly outpacing him currently, but he's in it. But his running ability just keeps every single play alive. It doesn't matter if he's about to be sacked 10 yards behind the line. He has scored multiple 30-yard running touchdowns while almost being sacked 10 yards behind the line this season already. Much less, probably 10 times in his career. And so I actually love Syracuse plus 6.5. It's more of just, is it going to be a league pick? It's just, I have to pick 3 of the 4 I mentioned. And so I just don't know which one of those it's going to be. But it's going to be bet either way.
Side note, Joe Exotic says that Graham Mertz is the king of Florida. So just needed that out there.
What?
Joe Exotic has beef with Jordan Travis. I don't know if you've seen this. Very great.
Why would I have seen this?
Jordan Travis the Tiger King because he's beaten LSU twice. So Joe Exotic has sued, or is threatening to sue, and instead said how Keefies, we love you. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Keefies.
Jordan Travis. He said, "Hey, Jordan Travis, if I had to pass the Tiger King crown to anyone, it would be Graham Mertz of the Florida Gators. How can you claim to be king of anything if you aren't even king of your own state? Fuck Seminole, go Florida Gators. Hashtag Tiger King, hashtag Gator Nation, hashtag Chomp Chomp."
I like how he's not even... Is he even calling himself this, or is it just fans calling him the Tiger King?
Fans, I think.
Okay. So,
I assume
he's probably seen it, but, is he actually calling himself the Tiger King?
Yeah. So, that's a thing.
That's not what I thought I was going to hear today. That's not even close to anything I thought I would hear today.
Well, there you go. Breaking news here, everybody.
I'm going to just start calling him the Tiger King now. Whether I agree with it or not. Just going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, that's our... I think we're done with college. Anything else to add before any other breaking news we got for us?
No, I just needed to get that in because it was important that everybody know.
Well, it is important.
Was thinking.
Always important. Moving on to NFL.
Never going to financially recover from this.
We won't financially recover from our week last week in the NFL. We went a combined 3-9. That's quick math. My only game I won was Houston, who somehow won by 17 while being a 9.5-point underdog. Doesn't make sense. I know you won that one also. Still doesn't make sense to me how that really went down. And my other games weren't that close. Tennessee, I don't know how... I hate Ryan Tannehill so much. And I hate the organization that just keeps putting Ryan Tannehill out there over and over again. When he's shown exactly what Ryan Tannehill is, and randomly expect him to all of a sudden be able to be a different Ryan Tannehill. Game wasn't close. There's really not a lot to say about a 27-3 loss. Just like my next game, Washington. 37-3, sorry. Even worse. Swing and a miss. Sam Howell turned the ball over 4 interceptions, and then someone else added a fumble. I don't remember who. I've mentally blocked out these games from my mind now to make sure I don't remember them. Then I had Chicago. I thought their offense would be able to do a little something, and that one's on me. Hand up.
Mm-hmm.
It will happen again. Next game, I bought into hype that wasn't there. I thought Dallas's defense would be better than letting Arizona score 28 points on them and averaging like 7 yards a run. Captain over here was potentially calling Dallas an all-time defense, and I guess I bought into that one. Also on me,
they had the potential to be before their players got brutally injured.
I don't think one cornerback getting hurt gives up 28 points to Arizona, who's pretty much trying to lose the season, by the way. Actively trying to lose. And then Tampa Bay, that was just a rough one.
Are they?
Yes. Tampa Bay, that was just a rough one. I actually think our defense played pretty well for most of the game, but when you're on the field for literally 80% of the game, you get tired. And your offense turns over the ball twice on your own side of the field, puts you in bad situations. I actually stand by the 5.5 pick. I think if one or two plays go differently there, I actually think we cover. I think our offense just had an off day. That's all.
Yeah, I still think the Tampa Bay pick was the right pick. I had Atlanta. They didn't lurk. I had Tennessee.
Didn't lurk.
They didn't lurk.
Didn't lurk.
I had Houston. They won.
Did lurk.
Denver. Nobody. I thought it was going to be a gotcha game. I went for the cute pick of like Denver, who is really not good, is going to surprise Miami.
No. Didn't surprise Miami.
Denver got surprised by Miami, who's 3-0 and killing people. They got surprised by 70 points. What are you going to do? You know, bad week. I was 10-2 before that. Now we're at 12-6. We're still 66%. We're going to bounce back. I'm ready to go into the card.
All right, you're just not even going to cover some of the other games.
No, there's no reason. Look, I have put this week past. It happened, and we're on to the next one.
Yeah. So last night, Detroit just slaughtered Green Bay. It got kind of close at the end. It was a slaughter, though. I thought about taking Detroit. Didn't do it because I had a college pick. But I don't know. There's not a lot to say about this one. On that one.
No. Green Bay's in shambles. So starting off, Atlanta, Jacksonville. Gotta bet the Lunder.
I forgot it's in London. I didn't have this game picked before, and now I'm probably gonna pick it just so I can wake up at 8:30 on Sunday and watch football and have something on it.
I'm struggling because I really want to pick Jacksonville. Because yeah, I really want to. But Atlanta is a lurker team. And Jacksonville, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on there.
They have Doug.
Maybe
they're
just
coach.
bad. Yeah,
they just have
just bad.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Yeah, they've only beat it. I don't know. They're a frustrating team. I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to bet the Lunder.
I'll probably just bet it. I'm probably not going to do this for the league. Buffalo, Miami, though, I actually have Miami. I feel like this is one of those. I'm just going to ride them while they're hot. That offense doesn't look like it can actually be stopped. I do think the Bills keep it close, and Josh Allen is able to score enough, and I'll be sweating it out. But that Miami offense is just too much. They get Jalen Waddle back this week even. It's just insane. How do you cover these wide receivers who literally can just... Did you see the clip last week of Tyreek Hill ran the wrong play and he scored a 50-yard touchdown on it just because he's fast? He came up the field and the sideline. He's like, I ran the wrong play. And you hear a coach or just someone go, well, yeah, you're fast. Just run by him. It's like, that's literally their offense. Just run. That's all you need.
On a very, very, very basic level for anything. If you're faster, they can't catch you. How are they going to stop you? And I feel like we've just taken that to the extreme, and now we have a team that's popping 70 up like it's fucking nothing.
Accidentally scoring in the fourth quarter just because they're just faster.
Like, just so fast. Like, I feel like they put together, it's like what I do on FIFA. I'm like, I don't care if you're only an 81, you have faster. 95 pegs, and you go burr.
Yeah. Well, we can get through some bad crosses. You'll miss a shot here and there, but you'll get more opportunities because you're faster.
Because you go Bear.
Yeah.
And they were like, what if we did that everywhere?
Every position.
And then there were Pikachu faces all in the room. They were all like, every position? No, we need one fast guy, and we need one tall guy, and then we need and they're like,
no.
All Burr. All the time. Nothing else but Burr. And they were like, all right, I guess, what do you want us to do? Like, get fucking Tyreek Hill. Nobody Burrs like him. And they were like, we can't, they're not going to give us Tyreek Hill. They got Tyreek Hill. And then it just kept going. And now they just fucking Burr. And as long as their quarterback's head doesn't turn into scrambled eggs,
possibility,
they could win the Super Bowl by a landslide. If they keep doing what they're doing, it's going to get colder and people are going to not be as fast. Allegedly.
So we both have Miami in this one. That is a league pick for me. Moving on to the next one. Denver, Chicago. Battle of the 0-3s. Ugly. Just like you have a team that scored like 2 points all season and a team that gave up 70 last year. It's when a movable object meets a stoppable force. I'm taking Chicago.
I'm not touching this.
It's more of the lack of liking any other game, but right now I have Chicago. There's like two that we'll get to I kind of like, other than ones that are already selected. But like I really don't like a lot of the games here. Baltimore, Cleveland. What do you got? No. Oh, okay. That's analysis for you, folks. No.
The problem is Cleveland. Their defense looks silly when they're in Cleveland. It looks very good. Baltimore.
Well, it looks good every game.
It is. They fucked me on the Steelers. So
the offense gave up 2 turnovers for touchdowns. You can't say the defense fucked you when they literally scored an interception for touchdown. Yeah, that's like, the defense fucked me by letting the offense score 14 points on them.
Well, if they didn't let them score the other points, then the offensive touchdown wouldn't have been a problem. I think the play is I don't know. I could see this going several ways. I'm not touching it because it's hella spoopy.
Okay, then what do you have in Cincinnati, Tennessee? And please give me something more than no. You've said no for half the games we've covered so far. I need something to work with here.
Well, that's because I'm not picking them because I think they're bad games to pick. Cincinnati, what are we going to get with Joe Burrow? Is he going to be like able to move? I don't fucking know. I don't know what they're going to do. The offense doesn't look like it's clicking. Tennessee is Tennessee. They are not a good football team, but then they stick around and lurk and they fucking win. So I don't want either team, and I don't want to go against either team.
Oh, I agree. Like you said, I don't know what's happening with Joe Burrow. He looked a little better last week. Not fully there yet. At the same time, Ryan Tannehill literally shouldn't be a starting quarterback. I don't care for what team. It shouldn't happen. But their defense is good enough to keep them in most games, as long as they're not on the field 90% of the time. Derrick Henry's had a real slow start. I actually don't think it's necessarily his fault. The offensive line, he is literally getting hit when he picks the ball from Ryan Tannehill's hands. So, not a lot he can do. I'm not taking this game. I don't know what's going to happen in it. Indianapolis, Los Angeles. Man, I want to take the Rams. I do. But at the same time, I just don't trust them anymore.
This is a hover game for me.
I have technically picked it once and then switched it when I was doing college picks just because I was like, wait a minute. But I don't think I'm going to go with it.
I like Indianapolis in this game.
If I'm picking it, I'm definitely not taking Indianapolis.
Super fair.
That QB doesn't know how to not take a hit, and he'll play a quarter and a half, and then he'll get injured again, probably.
Maybe he gets injured in the third quarter though when they're already up, like the other game, and it doesn't matter.
It's not like maybe he won't get hurt. It's maybe he'll get hurt late enough to where it won't matter.
We got to be honest with ourselves here.
That's fair.
The dude thinks he can take NFL hits like it was college, and he found out so fast.
What's wild for me is it was back-to-back games. Like he didn't learn it at all from the first game.
Yeah. Now we'll see. we'll see how quick of a learner he is, because everybody says he's a super quick learner. If he is, he's not going to try to lower the shoulder against fucking multiple people, and instead he's just going to slide. That's what he should do.
Or run out of bounds, you have multiple options to not take a hit.
Throw
the ball
away.
Away. There's a few things you can do to not take hits.
Yeah, don't try to truck stick the D line in the NFL,
It's not recommended.
It's just there's few people that can do that and keep going. And if your name's not Josh Allen, you're not going to be able to do it.
That's fair.
Josh Allen arguably can't really do it, but he's like, Ben tried to do it for a while, and he ended up just a walking, wounded, real rapey guy. So.
Well, Josh Allen prefers to try and jump over the 6'3" D lineman, then get helicoptered and fall 7 feet to the ground. It's actually smarter if you think about it.
He can take it, though, because he's a bear.
Yeah, he actually doesn't make sense how he can just, him and Big Ben.
Huge.
But yeah, he's huge. Anyway, moving on to Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I don't know what QB's coming out for New Orleans. I love the 3.5 here. Like I said, our defense has been playing great. We actually held Philadelphia for most of that game until we turned it over twice in quick succession. And then our offense came alive a little bit. We were never going to come back fully, but it came back a little bit. Also, New Orleans, still a good defense. It's still top tier. Their offense is awful, and that's even with Derek Carr out there.
Yeah.
If Jameis is out there, I don't trust New Orleans at all. And that's someone who had Jameis as his QB for 5 years. I've seen what he can do.
That's why you don't trust
him. And so I love 3.5 here. This one's probably locked in no matter even if Derek Carr's there. I think this one's locked in for me.
I'm locked in on Tampa Bay here. Especially, I think Tampa Bay is the better team. Even in New Orleans, I think they can outright win. But even if they don't, New Orleans games have been decided by 1 point, 3 points, and 1 point. So at no time has it been over a field goal. Give me all 3.5, please.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
One of the first ones on my card, and it's staying. I'm not even thinking about changing it.
Yeah, no, I'm not even Miami and Tampa Bay. They're there no matter what.
So all the money on New Orleans is what we're saying.
Absolutely. And then, so we have Washington, Philadelphia. This is just, I'm not touching it. I feel like this is the game where I take Philadelphia and Sam Howell decides to be an NFL QB. If I take Washington, Sam Howell decides to not be an NFL QB. And so I'm just not going to touch it. I think Philadelphia wins by a touchdown. That would have Washington covering right now, but I just don't. I'm staying away from this one after my Washington loss last week. They hurt me.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Last week, I thought I had Washington in my picks until I looked and I had accidentally switched. So I should have been on them too. I didn't think what was going to happen. I didn't think they were going to get blown out. I thought their defense was better. But again, Sam Howell, if you're turning it over,
I think their defense is fine. It's like 100% of the game was on the offense last week.
Right. So their defense is good. Their offense, though, is Sam Howell, and that is where the problem starts. Now, the thing is, I think the offense looks good if they're not turning the ball over. If that makes sense. No shit. But Eric Bieniemy has a
man. What a concept! The offense looks better when they don't turn the ball over, guys.
Wild concept.
First people to ever come up with that one.
Yeah. You were here first. Congratulations. I actually think they can keep this game close. I like Washington plus 8.5, but I don't have the balls after watching them last week.
I don't.
To take it, and I can see Philadelphia doing the thing where they go so far ahead in the first half, and then there's no catching up. Because Washington can't throw the ball because the Philadelphia defense is just pin their ears back. Sam Howell's throwing pick sixes. That's why I'm scared to take it, is Sam Howell. If they just turned around and handed the ball off, we could talk then.
Yes, because the Philadelphia defense wouldn't be able to stop that after they handed it off 10 times in a row.
I said we could talk. I didn't say I'd listen the whole time, but I said we could talk.
Oh, I know you won't listen the whole time. I do a podcast with you. Moving on to Minnesota, Carolina. Oh, okay. We're distracted here.
No.
I don't know what's happening. Oh.
He's chewing on the fucking Ethernet cord. We're watching a dog.
Can we get the dog? Oh,
Dylan.
there's the dog. Look
This is
at him.
Dylan. We're dog sitting Dylan. He's a very sweet boy, but he is chewing the Ethernet cord right now.
Not great.
Not great. He's a sweet boy though.
Hell yeah. Minnesota, Carolina. I actually like Minnesota. It's not a pick for me right now. I don't know. I heard Bryce Young's playing. That doesn't mean he's necessarily fully healthy. If it was Andy Dalton, I would actually probably like them plus the 3.5. But if it's Bryce Young, not fully healthy, I do like Minnesota. It's not a pick currently for me. That could be one of those I switch because I get scared of like Chicago or one of my other picks, though.
I'm currently on Minnesota. This is for me. I ran out of games I liked.
Yeah, this week I really don't have games
comfortable with. And that also has to do with taking a throttling last week, so I lose confidence and I don't like as many games. But for me, it's like don't overthink this game. Minnesota might be 0-3, but they're 1,000% the better team. And I think Carolina had like a decent game last week, so I think Minnesota actually wins by double digits.
I could see. I mean, theoretically, I think their offense is good enough for them to be winning. They should have won last week. They had like 2 different chances at the end of the game where they were inside the 10-yard line and got no points. So they definitely should have beat the Chargers last week. But at the same time, I can't just randomly expect them to stop being the Vikings too, which is why it has me nervous and why I've been flip-flopping on it. Pittsburgh, Houston, I am just not touching. That's just an ugly game. I feel like that.
I have Houston plus 3.5.
If I had to take it, that's what I would take, just because the Pittsburgh offense is so bad, but their defense is so scary with Watt up there, just the entire defensive line running after a rookie QB in his 4th game. I wouldn't want to be picking that side. But hey,
it's one of the few I don't like it, but I have it. You know,
this week it's like you said. After you take an ass kicking, your card shrinks. You're less confident. You don't like as many games, and so I get nervous, and so I overthink way more. But this is one I'm just not touching no matter what. We have Las Vegas, Los Angeles. I actually have the Chargers minus 5.5. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is playing. Even if he is, I think the Chargers are just a better team. They should have a better record than 1-2. In general, they did finally turn the ball over last week, so I guess they saw a little fallacy on it. But Las Vegas is just bad. The only reason they have a win is because they played the Broncos the first week and they barely won that, which is saying something to barely beat the Broncos. Shout out Washington. Gave me false confidence.
This is a game. The Chargers are better. They I feel like 5.5 isn't enough points because they have so much talent, but at the same time they're the Chargers.
Yeah.
They have a neutral site game this week instead of an away game. And so I actually have Las Vegas plus 5.5. I hate it. It doesn't make any sense. They should lose. That's why I have them actually.
Okay, we're pulling in the big Chargers.
Yeah, I tried not to do it as much this week, but I feel like it's somehow the Chargers they get out on a lead as the game goes on. Las Vegas somehow creeps back into it, and they lose by like 4, and they score with like a minute left, and they have to do the thing where they're trying to get the onside kick, and they don't get it. I think that's how this game works. And then the Chargers escape with 1, and they're 2-2.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's fair. Next game, what do you got in Dallas, New England? I went first for a few times in a row. Let's see what you got.
I don't have this game. Dallas, my team, I can't pick them. I really like New England plus 6.5. They keep games close. I think Dallas looked human for the first time this year, last week. And yeah, if I was going to pick it, I would take New England. That being said, I can see Dallas coming out and fucking destroying them as like a bounce back kind of thing. But I don't know. I feel like 6.5 is just too much for Bill Belichick coach team.
I don't like giving up 6.5 to New England, like you said, to Bill Belichick. But at the same time, I think that that game last week, the defense was probably really thinking like, man, no one can score on us. We're dominating out there. We haven't even really been tested yet at all. And it was kind of a wake up call. So it didn't matter who the opponent was this week. I'd be very scared for that offense to face the Dallas defense this week.
Yeah.
I don't. But at the same time, Dallas's offense is kind of bad. Like it's
bad.
Like at the
I
beginning,
said it the first 2 weeks, even when we blew people out. I was like, our offense is not good. Our defense is doing everything.
yeah, and I've said that the whole time too. But like, they at least like looked confident and looked decent. I guess the first few games, they literally looked atrocious last game. So many chances to win this game, and they couldn't take any of them. Dak doesn't look good. The offensive run game is, it's all right, but I feel like once you get inside the 10-yard line, y'all try to run like cheeky, cute plays, and Tony Pollard loses 3 yards on 1st and goal, and then you're at the 8-yard line like every single time. And it's frustrating because I own Pollard in fantasy, so it's like I'm like, oh, maybe he'll get a touch here, and then he gets a touch and he loses 3 yards, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. I don't know why I got my hopes up there. That one's on me, really. And so I'm not touching this game after last week, and it is too many points. Maybe if it was like 3.5, I would be like, yeah, okay. But not 6.5 versus Bill Belichick. And New England's defense is pretty good. I don't see y'all's offense putting up a lot there.
Yeah. 6.5 is so many points.
Speaking of so many points, 14.5 for San Francisco, Arizona. You're going to take Arizona, aren't you?
I have them.
Yeah. I kind of thought about it.
I think they're like weirdly better than people think they are with Dobbs. Now, could be a complete misread. I don't think they're good, but I think they can keep it within 2 touchdowns. Like, I think their offense can score enough to keep it within 2 tuds.
Well, I think
but it also feels like so many points that all the money is going to go on Arizona, and San Francisco might be.
Yeah, my whole thing is in the NFL, almost every team should be able to cover 14.5 points. Yeah. Unless you have a game where you throw 4 interceptions and fumble the ball like Washington, or you're the Chicago Bears. Almost all the time you should be able to cover 2 touchdowns. Now games happen, like you just get blowouts, you have an off game, but like beforehand you're looking at it and going like, yeah, any team should be able to cover this. But also, I can see San Francisco coming out and winning 31-10, and it's like actually wasn't even really that close because they scored a touchdown with like 4 minutes left to make it look okay. Okay in quotation marks while losing by 21 points. I'm not touching this one no matter what. That's just too many points for me. And I say that's too many.
This is a hover for sure.
Hover. Okay.
But I also have really run out of games I like. So
yeah. That's where I'm at too. This next game's a hover for me. It's technically picked right now. I do have Kansas City minus 9.5, and that's more of because Zach Wilson is just so bad. That defense is very good. Very good.
He bought his whole team ice cream though. Did you see that? So you never know. A little ice cream.
I did not see that, and that is just terrible.
He's just trying to get everybody to like him, trying to be a team guy because he's super douchey and
actually one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever had to watch in the NFL. I don't see how the Jets score 10 points unless it's literally all defensive touchdowns or they fumble a ball on the 1-yard line and then the offense scores. That's all I got on that. Yeah, Dylan?
Yeah.
I'm expecting him just to take a giant chomp out of the bike.
Nope. Okay. This game is just fun because it's the Taylor Swift game and it's something new and different. I'm excited to watch all the hoopla. I'll say
the hoopla.
It was fun to watch it last week. It just was. Like, I understand it could be annoying to some people. If that's annoying to you, completely get it. But I find it super fun. You know, we got like maybe the most recognizable person in the world, one of them, and Taylor Swift, the biggest, like basically the woman version of Michael Jackson at this point. at the games with Travis Kelce. That's cool as shit, man. Cool as shit. I'm excited to watch it. If I was going to take somebody, I would take Kansas City. That being said, I can see the Jets. I think Taylor Swift is the X factor in this game. I think it's how the Jets use that to their advantage or disadvantage. If they, as a team, go, we're not going to let them fucking come in here, goddamn T Swift up in our box and just own us, and their defense ends up making a stand. I can see it happening.
If you need to stop Taylor Swift as your motivation to play better, you've already lost the game. I'll take Dirk's quote from Miami Wade a long time ago. If you need more motivation to win the finals, then you've already lost the game.
Well, this isn't the finals. It's a regular season game, and your quarterback's Zach Wilson. So really, you're looking for anything you can to get you going. Bro, if you think the NFL players are thinking...
Waiting.
Dylan wiggled out. Do you think the NFL players are not talking about how they want to fucking kick the shit out of Kansas City because Taylor Swift's going to be there? I guarantee you that conversation has happened multiple times.
And I will go on record saying if you need Taylor Swift as your motivation to beat a 2-time champion, then you've already lost the mental game.
Not that you need it, but you can use it as extra motivation.
No. I'm not going to agree that Taylor Swift can be extra motivation to beat the Chiefs.
Oh, dude. I think you're underplaying it then.
Well, then pick the Jets.
No, that's dumb. That's just not smart. They can use it for extra motivation. It doesn't mean that Zach Wilson isn't playing quarterback. But at the same time, both things can be true. Again, I think that they'll use it for extra motivation. Now, whether it works or not is a whole different thing.
Okay. Who do you have in Seattle Giants? I'm done with talking about Taylor Swift motivation.
I don't think we should be, but Seattle is who I would go with. I think Seattle is the better team. I think the Giants are fucking bad, and they just happen to come back against an inept second half team in the Cardinals.
I have Seattle. I do think Seattle's just the better team. I mean, the Giants are bad. Just like straight up, they're bad. Now, I don't think Seattle's necessarily good, but they're going to be a team that gets 8, 9, 10 wins. Maybe they beat some better opponents. They'll also probably lose to some worse opponents, which that could happen in this game. That's why the line's 1.5. But I have Seattle picked right now on my league picks, at least.
I think it should be reversed. Is it? Oh, it is. Never mind.
What?
I didn't realize. I did not realize the live line. Sorry, was Seattle -1.5, and we have +1.5.
Yeah,
that's all I was. I was like, oh, it's reversed. So I'm gonna take Seattle then. If we have a 3-point advantage, that's dumb not to take it.
Well, I don't think that point advantage will probably come into play. The difference between losing by a point and winning by a point is probably not gonna happen. But statistically speaking, that doesn't make a difference to me. I just think Seattle's the better team.
To New Orleans and Green Bay.
Glad you have one example. Any other picks?
No, I don't have anything else. Picks wise, I'll be tweeting them out. So the Captain Huff on X or Twitter, or I'm gonna call it Twitter. I'm gonna refuse to call it X. On Twitter, I am the Captain Huff.
I like how you're like making a stand. Like 99% of people don't just call it Twitter. Like I'm gonna be the guy that makes a stand against tyranny.
I'm the first. Okay.
God bless. I hate it here.
I got a jinx call.
Oh, he already called me. Yeah, I'm not picking up until after the Oregon State game starts. Minimally, it's just not happening. I'll go do dinner. I'll do whatever. Not talking to him before the game because I want to make sure I don't have any info from him of any kind.
Same. He gets in our head, even if it.
I literally had a winning pick that was switched to a losing pick because of him last week.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, never mind. Not getting into this. I'm done. The show's done. Everybody leave.
It worse, though. What made it worse was you switched off of the winning pick. He switched onto it, and then he got scared off the Sam Houston State game, and you were like, I can keep it.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that one. Thanks for really just putting it all out there. That I literally switched off the winning one and kept the losing one. I didn't realize that before you explained it, actually. It just dawned on me
viewers
6 days
might not
later.
have known the whole scope of what we're talking about. They might not have known the whole scope. So I'm trying to enlighten them. It's not always.
This literal topic is about me. We are literally talking about my picks.
We're talking about you with other people, though. So, like, we're talking about you, but you're the topic, you know? So it's not really about you being involved. It's about us making fun of
you. You know what? That makes sense.
I'm glad you said that because I talked myself out of making. I'm like, I don't know what I just said. So
I don't either. I just said that makes sense because I'm super done with this now. I was over that whole situation. Like Tuesday, I had gotten past the Army, Sam Houston, all that jazz. You brought it back up right before the juju of me panicking about Oregon State. Now I'm going to overthink it because you brought this up. I blame you.
And we know the Jinx has a game. We just don't know which one. It's kind of more fun that way. It's Russian roulette.
And both of us are ignoring information. Like, we're blatantly trying to not get information, so neither... Because if one of us gets it, I'm sharing it. If I'm panicking, I'm making him panic.
Oh, yeah. I'm the one... I was talking to the Jinx last week, and while I was on the phone with him,
texting me every sentence. Like, I don't think
though, that it was all about you. It wasn't about my shit. It was like, he's talking about all of your games.
Like, in 15 minutes, he's on Army, he's off Army, he's on Army, he's back off of it, then like 3 minutes before he's on Army, it's locked in. That's from like 10:45 to 10:58. I got that snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. And I'm over here panicking.
And I relayed the snip, snap.
It's just that.
I was just trying to make sure you had all the information so that you could make the decision that you needed to make. Just saying.
Honestly, the Jinx didn't cause this. The captain caused it by making me panic.
Okay. I will not relay any information he gives me then.
Good. And I'll make sure if I know he's on one of your picks to not tell you.
Well, I don't want that. I'm not saying that. I want the information.
Doesn't matter. We're going scorched earth ska now.
What the fuck is happening? Yeah. All right.
We're on week 4. We got 14 more weeks of this.
It's exhausting.
It is actually mentally exhausting dealing with the Jinx. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Appreciate y'all. Trashy.
Congratulations on getting your dishes done, Trashy.
Glad your dishes are done. We appreciate you listening to us while you do chores. We appreciate. I no longer speak good. We thank you for coming out, lurkers, talkers. You tuned in for 30 seconds. If you're here for an hour and a half, once again, we're sorry you didn't have something better to do.
True.
You didn't have to laugh that hard at it. True. Appreciate all y'all. I hope all your bets win. I hope your CSGO games go well. Okay. I'm trying to get, you know what? We're done. We're ending. I apologize to I can't even talk. I hope Captain loses everything.